Alright guys, I want to make you a real quick video on what I'm working on. This is for a 2011 or 2012, I believe it's 2011 Porsche Cayenne. It's an all keys lost situation. The shop that I'm doing this for pulled the BCM for me. It was this one here. And on this, there's like three or four screws on the back of the metal case. You just take the screws out and the plastic will pop off. And then the board itself, you don't have to take out of the metal bracket. The adapter that I'm using this Xhorse Porsche BCM, the XDNP17, and it comes with two different clips depending on what BCM you're working on. So these two clips would have been if the board was just by itself to clip the solderless adapter, but there are other boards that the bottom opening's a little bit bigger for if you have your board in the metal case. I believe this has sealing on it on the bottom, and you would have to heat it up to separate it, but we don't need to do all that. Lining up the board can be a little bit tricky, and there is a diagram in the Key Tool Plus. Now, I haven't found real good detailed instructions on how to do this, so I kind of had to try to figure it out and talk to a couple of people and read some videos. So at first I thought I was having a problem with the Key Tool Plus, and I grabbed my mini prog and I was able to connect, crack the chip, back up all the files. So I do have files set up, saved with the mini prog, but I was able to go back to the Key Tool Plus and get what I needed to. So I have backup files in the Key Tool Plus also. So I know the screen might be a little bit hard to see, but basically I'm going to go back out to home. So when you have your connection, what you want to do is you want to go into the programmer. All right, and then go into Immobilizer. All right, and then we can just scroll all the way up until we get to Porsche, and we're going to go to Porsche. And then you need to know the model number of the BCM that you're working on. We are working on, there's three options down the bottom. It's the 5M48H. And this one was encrypted and it was locked. And I used this very bottom option right here. The one that says read, write, unlock. So you go in there and so if you're using the adapter, you select the adapter. If you're soldering wires on, you select the weld, but we got the adapter. And then, so because this BCM is locked, what we're going to do is we're going to go into more functions and then unlock it down the bottom. And then once you unlock it, that will give you your ability to read and write. All right, so this is already unlocked, so I'm going back out of that. And then you can go ahead and just read your EEPROM. Well, you're going to read your D-flash. You don't have to read the P-flash, you just need the D-flash. And then, okay. And then it'll go in. And so if your connection's bad, it'll tell you right off the bat. You know, it'll say what pin is not connected, whatever. And then when you start, it'll try to do everything. But you see how we just got this file here? I'm gonna go ahead and just, if you hit save and edit and you open it, it's gonna open up a hex file, and then you can see data is inside this hex file. So that's how you know you got a successful read. And just go ahead and hit save as, and then I'm actually gonna rename this after to, oops, I spelled after. All right, so I'm just after second. All right, and so basically, that's just my own wording for, I know this is the file that's after I added the second key. All right, that I'm just having this for a backup for me. This job is already done for me, but name the file whatever you need to name it so that you have it, and it doesn't hurt to save it twice. Save it, save it as a second, name of something else. You can just add backup just in case anything ever happens to that original file. you now have a backup that you haven't made any changes to. All right, so once we get out of there, we have our file saved. We can go ahead and go home and go into a mobilizer. I'm going to hit Europe just to take some options off the board, and then hit Porsche. All right, and then what we want is the option down here that says new Porsche key, generate daily key. All right, and then start programming, and then generate daily key. All right, and then it's going to ask us, all right, what EEPROM we're using, and we know this is the BCM, the 5M48H. We'll go ahead and select that, and then it's going to ask us to pull up our file. So even though we see a file here now, if we go into pad prog file and go into today's date, and then you can see, you know, BCM bin files that were backed up. So this one here that was done at 12:13, it's 12:15 now. So this was 2 minutes ago. That's what we went, and then basically it'll show you keys that are in the system. Now, right now, those two keys are actually in slots 4 and 5, but we haven't learned them on the car yet, so the BCM is not actually showing them in, but you can see the original two keys, key 1 and 2, which we don't have. Those are all keys lost. So when you're here, you would select, you know, the next two empty files, and then you can set that's going to pre-code the keys and get you like the right encryption data, your right password, or whatever you need, but you still need to learn the key to the car on the car. So basically what we're doing now is just be able to get the data so that we could pre-code the keys. And like I said, my key is in slots 3 and 4, and then after you program them, it'll give you a message. It'll say, you know, you have to go in and add the keys on the car. And at that point, we would install the BCM, everything, install it back, get in the car, plug in with our DLC, and then this option down the bottom, new Porsche key learning. Actually, let me back out one and see if it shows it in the big menu. Yep, so right there. Then you select that bottom option, new Porsche key learning. You can start the programming and then select learn key. But like I said, you would have to be in the car to begin the key learning, and then obviously once you're done, you could end key learning and you could read the mobilizer status. I do not believe you have to go back and lock the BCM back. I did see an option in there when we was in there to lock it back, but you know, nothing I seen said I have to actually lock it back. It might lock back on its own once you complete those key programming. But, you know, that's something I'll look into before I get back to the car, whether I need to go back and do that lock. So I'm just going to go back in and go back into our programmer so we can look at the BCM again. And we were down here, adapter. So when I go back into more functions, so there's the option. We unlocked it, begin. If I do need to lock it back, I can just go ahead and hit lock, but I'm not going to do it right now because it might need to be unlocked for as far as the programming that we need to do on the car. All right, so thanks for watching. Of course, my battery died just in time, but we were done. Thanks for watching, and I will post an update video once I figure out the rest of this on the car. Alright, so I'm in the I'm in the vehicle, and I'm still trying to hook this up. We got power, the keys in the slot, and I went into that new key learning that I showed you. It asked me how many keys I want to put in the system, so I put 2, and then you know, it's starting to do key 1 learning. It told me to switch the ignition on, which everything came powered on up front. I heard the steering lock unlock. So I don't know how long this usually takes once it's starting to learning, but it's definitely doing something. And I'll cut back in once we get to the next part. Alright, so the screen never changed from that add the key to learning. It just kept going there. So I took that key out, I put the second key in, and it told me it was learning the second key. And now it tells me all keys are successfully learned. So I could shut it off, I could turn it on. You hear the steering wheel unlock. So right now we don't have start. Maybe I gotta put the foot on the brake. There we go. Alright, so it's trying to start. The battery's dead, but I'm gonna go ahead and say this key is programmed. Yep, I got lock unlock features. Just popped the trunk on that one. So the vehicles are definitely reacting to both of these. Let's see if I can get a better jump cable. I got a box hooked up to it, but this thing must be fully dead. So let's see if I can go ahead and get some power to it, get it powered up, and get it running. But as far as I believe, the key programming is complete. And that final test on that key, it turned out the battery was actually unplugged. Alright, vehicle starts up, runs, stays running. Alright, so that was a successful key add on a 2011 Porsche Cayenne encrypted BCM. BCM is under the dash here up front. We used the Xhorse Key Tool Plus with the solderless adapter. Read the D flash, pre-coded 2 daily keys, put everything back in the car, used the add key function on the car, added the 2 keys in. Very simple job. The hardest thing is getting the BCM out. Alright, thanks for watching. LakelandCarKeys.com.